So again haywire, let me start recording. Alright, I'm hoping that nothing has gone wrong with the recording. Okay, so let me close Chrome and then yeah. Are you able to hear me, everybody? So if you have questions, you can ask them now. Abhishek, are you able to hear me? Alright, so Vikas's question is how to get data from a URL like S3. So most of these data providers would be providing their pig storage. If they are not providing, you might have to write your own storage way, or maybe you use some other tool to first pull the data from S3 into HDFS. Alright. Any other questions? All right, so let me start now. I think everybody's here. So, okay, so do you mean this slide, Tarak, or this one? The slide number 23, 27. Okay, so basically, just have you used explain in case of a SQL query? All right, so basically, whenever you have some data, let me just load something and then it will make more sense. Let's say, let's have a look at this. And let me just start pig. Okay, and then if you say explain, then you can see that it shows you the full query plan. Okay, it shows you the full query plan. It will take a little while to understand what's going on here. Okay, all right, so basically it will read from the store and then it will give these names to the columns and all of those details, and then it will form the divs as the storage. Okay, so explain gives you the details about the full query plan, while describe dataset just gives you what are the columns in that dataset. Explain dataset will tell you what are the things that are going to be executed in order to reach to this data set. All right. Now, using store, you can store any data set or relation. Data set is also called relation, as in the beginning I told you. So you can store the data set into other storage using store command. Once you are done with everything, you can say store my data set into the HDFS. Next is dump. Dump is just for printing to the screen. Just to just equivalent of print command in almost every language. Okay. So the other thing which you must have noticed so far is the actual execution starts either when you say dump or when you say store. The actual execution of these steps starts when you say dump or store. For rest of the things, say grouped, for each, execution does not start. It just makes a note of it saying that this data set will be arrived at using this kind of a query. That's all. But when you say dump or when you say store, the whole process starts. Okay. All right. Now, the the next thing you should know after load and dump and store is for each. For each is equivalent of projections. Okay, for each is equivalent of projections. It takes an expression, applies to every record. So when we say for each, we also have to say generate. So this is our data set which has been loaded from this file, and it has got these 4 columns. Now we are only interested in these 2 columns. We are not interested in other columns. So we can say for each divs generate only these 2 columns. Okay. So it will only give you these 2 columns. Okay. So let me just run it in. Okay. And so that we all know what's going on. All right. I have skipped this command because this is not required. This is just debug statement. All right. So you can see that there is only 2 columns in this tuple. Okay. Or before that also you can say describe values. So it has only 2 columns. All right. Everybody with me? So for each is more like a select query, okay, without any other operation. Select A comma B from this table. That's all. Those kind of query is for each. Now say you want to subtract 2 values, and that is the only thing you are interested in. Say here you are only interested in this, in close minus open. So you can do basically mathematical operations. In case in generate, it's the equivalent of saying select close minus open. So this is equivalent of saying select close minus open from prices. Okay, this is equivalent of saying select close minus open. All right. Next is, in case you have not given it a name or you don't want to access by name, you can say $6 minus $3. Okay, it's like, so so as we told that while loading a data, you don't necessarily specify the column name. So in case you have not specified the column names, then you can say for each prices generate $6 0 1 2 3 0 1 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So that is $6. Okay, and in case you are interested in all the columns up to open, so you say for each prices generate dot dot open, meaning exchange symbol date and open. Okay, so basically you're only interested in these 4 columns. In case you are interested in all the columns from open till close, so you'll say open dot dot close. All right. In case you are interested in only these 2 columns, volume and ADJ close, in those cases you can say volume dot dot. All right. So that way you can select the range of the fields from an input data. Everybody with me? Yeah, close and opens us 2 names of the fields. So let's say that we are saying, I'm just loading this data. So let me see if there is something in prices. It should say the data not found. Yeah, it says input path does not exist. So let me just edit it. Because our data exists in data slash this. So we can also say things like CD data ls here. And here you can say NYSE daily. And these are the values stored in that file. Okay. There are actually too many rows. So you can simply say this and say dump prices. Oh, this time we don't have to because we have already changed our current directory to that folder. Because our current directory is anyway data, so it will directly pick the data from there. Yeah, it's working now. All right, so I'm trying to execute as we go ahead. All right, any questions on this? So for each is more like a select clause or projections. Now you can see that it has loaded the data, and we can simply say things like gain is close minus open, gain is close minus open, and dump gain. So the gain will basically contain only single column value. I think we've started the recording, yeah. All right, so this will give us only the close minus open, the difference of values, that is a single column. All right, now here is a question for you. Will this code have any, will this particular command will generate any reducer code? Is it, is there a need of a reducer or not? Gain equals for each prices generate close minus open. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do is you are iterating over the prices and only generating close minus open. Okay? You are not sorting the data, you are not grouping the data. All you are doing is translating input into another form. Okay? So this kind of work can simply be done on map side only. You do not require reducer, and also while executing your map reducer you can specify that I don't even need sorting of my key and values. Okay, because all you need to do is in each map just translate input to another file, that's all. So your input will, so output of mapper will directly go into HDFS, it will not go to the reducer, correct? Difference is basically a reducer. Not really. It all depends on what you're trying to do. You can compute this difference on the map side as well. Yes, correct. So not really. You can do the computation on the map side as well. Because key or the value are also the Java code, right? The generation process of key and the value is also the coming from program, which means you can generate key or the value howsoever possible. Okay, here the key itself can be close minus open and value can be null, and you can say that I don't want sorting, I don't want any reducer code. Okay, so similarly pig will also internally realize, will do uh, that this kind of a code for each generally don't require any reducer side work. We are not trying to combine the data, order the data, or group by the data. Okay, we are simply projecting. All right, the other the use cases of for each in case of a complex data, as Tarak was asking earlier also, if we have more examples on. So Tarak's question is, can it be done with the use of reduce as well? It can be done with the reduce as well if your key is identifying each row uniquely. All right, it should not, your key should not be grouping the multiple records together. Okay, So if you have for each and you have the data as complex type, you can basically do things like this. Okay, so let me show you a little bit complex data. So there is a data called baseball, right? So here each record is actually fairly complex. So these are the two records, and I'm going to copy them somewhere else. Okay, so this is one record and this is another record. Okay, and I'll show you. So this particular row contains this data. Okay, this particular row contains this data. In this, what do you see here? First is a name of the player. This is a baseball player's record actually. So this is the name of the player. This is the name of the team, meaning both are character arrays. And then these are the character traits. These are the character traits of the player. So whether the player is a pitcher or a relief pitcher, these are the character traits. And what is this? This is a bag of tuples. This tuple only contains one single column. No, I'm logged in on Hadoop 4. But this data is in HDFS under the folder called data. Next is the fourth column is a map where the key is games and value is 64. Here, these are the these are the name of basically the history of each player. Now, in case of ban job rest, there's a lot of history here. Okay, these are the record kind of things here. So Ben Jobrist has played 297 games, hit by pitch is this much, and all of these are the past records of a player. So now you can see it has got a bag, it has got a map, and this bag has got tuple. Now say what you want is you want only the total number of games played by the user. So you can simply say, after loading this baseball, after loading this, say you first loaded like this, you say here, and then in case you only want certain data, say only games played, okay, so you can say for each b ball generate name and bet bet okay, yeah, bet and hash games. So this would give you the games played by each of the players. Just a second. I think this is the way you can. Unexpected symbol near bat. Have I forgotten? This is generally the way we do any of this. Mismatched input games, expecting. I think this is the only way. Anyway, I'll just figure that out, don't worry. Yeah, I think this is correct. Alright. So, Tarak, the bag means a data set. Okay. A data set contains rows. Rows is a tuple, and map is key value pairs, collection of key value pairs. Now here, this one, this one is a map. This one is a bag, and these are the in each bag. These are the tuples. This is one tuple. This is another tuple. All right. So now you can see that we have picked up only the games played by the user. All right. So we have just picked up only the games played by the user. Okay. I'll just mention it here so that next time it is available. Okay. Or in case you want to just pick, oh, it was already there. I did not have to actually do it again. So basically, in case you just want to pick up the batting average, you can use this kind of thing. Okay. So batting average is something like here in this. Where is the batting average? Yeah, this is the batting average. In case in the data sets like this one where there is no batting average, you will get null. All right, you will get null batting average. So out of a bag, if you want to pick up only few values rather than the whole bag, you can say that you only are interested in few values. So you can basically pick up few columns out of the tuple. Similarly, here we can say that A is a bag and that bag contains tuples whose and this tuple contains x and y. Yeah. Sweta is saying, but there is a field named batting average. Yes, that's correct. This is the batting average we are picking up from the hash map. But in case of the last player, this one, Joel Jumea, in this case, it does not have any batting average yet. It has only one key value in this map. Okay, in those cases, you will get null. All right, Sweta, is that what was your question? All right. So here we are. So Tarak, just 5 more minutes and then we can take a quick break. All right. Yes. If we did not mention data type above, okay, then Yeah. So in those cases, if you do not mention the data type of a particular field, and and pig is not able to figure out whether it's a number or whether it's a string or it's a map, in those cases pig will consider them as either byte array or character array. All right. In case it could not figure out, in lots of cases pig cannot figure out automatically. In all those cases it will just keep them as byte array. And in case you specify a data type by casting, then you can convert that byte array or character array into map or a bag or a tuple. All right. Or into any other data type. So you can iterate over, you can project only certain fields from tuple like this. Similarly, you can also pick up only few values from the bag. Okay. And also note that you cannot pick up only few tuples. You can only pick up few fields of tuples in of the bag. Okay. So as you can see here, we are saying for each A, generate B which is a bag, B dot X. So it will generate the bags containing only one value from the tuple rather than the whole value. Okay. So only X will be generated, not Y. All right. But you cannot pick up few tuples from the bag. That can be done using another query called filter. We will talk about it in future. All right. Okay. Now this is another more details about for each. Okay. So in for each you can do the mathematical multiplication just like select query, and say for example dividends into 100 and then give it a name called dividend and so on. So you can do a lot of complex queries. Also, a list of functions available with pig is listed here. We'll be using pig version number 13. Okay. What happened actually? All right. So this is the list of all the functions available. For example, so Nitika, I explained your question. If you have not mentioned the data type above, in those cases you cannot do these operations. It will say the field not found. The only way to get it done is by casting the data into map or into tuple or any other data type. All right. Okay. So if you have not specified that this is a map or something, it'll be generally pig will not figure that out. Pig will mark it as character array or byte array, and then you will have to either cast it or specify by yourself that this is a map. All right. These are the other functions which you can execute, say mathematical functions as part of for each, or string functions. Say out of these string functions, probably the most important one is extract all. Okay. Using extract all, the input data can be splitted into multiple fields. Say for example, you want to break this into multiple into IP address and port number. So you can say regex $1 or the field name, and then specify a regular expression. It will break it into two columns, this and this. Okay. So go through the functions list, and this is a standard list of functions like string function is there, mathematical functions are there, datetime functions are there. You can break the, okay, then tuple functions are there. So have a look at these. They will be, you will be able to utilize it better. Okay. So that was about for each. Okay. Now we do you want break now, Tarak, for 5 minutes, and then we will talk about group by. Okay. Back by 10:47. Okay. So let's start. So till now we talked about loading the data, dumping the data into the screen, and then storing the data back to the HDFS, then iterating over the data using for each. And then let's talk about something called group by. Group by is very important because what does group by do is take a value, uh, basically on whatever column you are grouping it. For that, it groups all the rows together, okay, containing the same value for that particular column. Okay. For example, let's say there is a data set called A, John 18:4 F, and F means a float. Okay. So when we say and A is here, this is A is name, GPA, and sorry, name, age, and GPA. Now what we are trying to do is we are grouping it by the age. So for age 18, there will be two records, this one and this one. While for 19, there is only one, and for 20, there is only one. Therefore, what it will result in is a new data set in which is basically new data set in which each each tuple contains a number as first field and a bag as second field. And what does this bag contains? Bag contains those records which had the same age. Correct? So this is the role of group by. Group by groups together the record having the same value on which we are grouping by. Correct? Are you with me? Hello? Alright. So group by is clear to you? So the difference between the group by of SQL and this group by is it is in itself an uh, independent transformation. It's not like in SQL you have to specify an aggregate function. No. Okay. So, all right. So Tarak is saying let's have another group by. Okay. In this data, let me just see if I can. So if I say describe b-ball, so it has team. Okay. If I want to group it by team, what I'll say, let me just create a team-wise data set equals group b-ball by team. Correct? Team is one of the columns here. We are grouping b-ball by team. So all the records, okay. So here b-ball is going to be like this. Alright. Now if I dump team wise, what will happen is all the players of a particular team will come together as a single record. Alright. So I'm assuming that you are familiar with the group by in general, group by clause of SQL. In case of group by clause of SQL, you do the aggregation function along with the group by. Here group by is pure group by. We are saying just group them by a particular column field. Okay. It's similar to what happens when in oh how can I So it's too much of data here. So you can see in this particular tuple, which is a result of the group by, it's a really big record. Alright. So you can see that for Philadelphia Phillies is one team. All the players have become part of this bag. Okay, this is a bag, and here is another player. Okay, and this is another player here. Where is the another player? It's actually difficult this way. Yeah. Correct, correct. So in the similar fashion, let's have a look at this example. This example is easier to understand. All right. So we have these three columns in each record. All right. In each record, these three columns. And when we say group by on age, which is 18, so for 18, all the records, which means first record and last record, they become part of this bag. Okay, so it contains the full record per se. You can see full record. John 18 4.0f, then Joe 18 3.8f. Correct? So Nitika, I don't have a way to format it right now. That is why Pig provides you those kind of tool and projections to clean it up and display. All right. So it brought the way here all the persons belonging to the same age were grouped together. So is this clear to you? This example? All right. So it's in the same way. You should try to do it by yourself. Maybe you do the projection of only, let's say, how should I describe? Let me, okay. So here, so if we had another thing, okay. So we have name. If we had said only name and team, we could have said for each b-ball generate name and team. Okay, and then if you say grouped equals group only name and team by team, then you will only see the name. Okay, I'll show you. I hope this will be easier for you to understand. Okay, now if I say dump grped, so this time it will be only the names of the players instead of all the details of the players. All right, now you can see this. Here, for this particular team, these are the players. So actually you can use the regex way of doing things. I would say this and put new line and this. Okay. This way you can format it. Okay. So you can format it and figure it out. All right. Next is filter. In case, okay, so you can try to execute this command and you will understand what do I mean. Okay. Next is filter. In case you want to only select few records out of all the records which are there in the input data set. In those cases, you can use filter. So we have NYSE dividends. We loaded it into divs. And then what we want to do is we want to find out only the symbols that are starting with cm dot star. Okay. So let me show you this. Have you guys gone? So who has gone through regex? Are you comfortable with this? What does it mean? cm dot star? So what does it mean, cm dot star? When I say correct, anything starting with cm, meaning all the symbols whose name starts with cm. So let's say we are saying this, okay? That means if we dump starts with cm, now what do we get? We will get only the records that have the symbol starting with cm. So NYSE dividend contain a column called symbol. We are trying to match that column and filter out only those records, meaning or keep only those records which are satisfying this condition, which are satisfying this condition. And what is this condition? This condition says symbol should match this regex, meaning symbol should start with cm. So you can see that those are the only records printed here. CME, CM, CMP, CMU, CMK, CMI, CMS, CMO, CMA, and CMC. Correct? Now, if you want to see all those records which do not match this particular pattern, then you can say not. All right. So and or not, all kinds of logical operators are possible. Also, you can say things like filter divs by this condition. And what does this condition means? This and this. Dividend greater than zero point 0.1 and dividend lesser than zero point 0.2. Okay. So you will only get results which matches this criteria. All right. Any doubt about this? You can create complex queries based on this, just like your select query in SQL. No doubt about it so far. All right. Now, question to all of you is, will there be any reducer generated for this particular query? Internally, will pig generate any kind of a reducer? Any ideas? So, yes, the reducer will be generated because a group by is, sorry, sorry. So no. So we are basically matching the record. So there will be no reducer because this can be done easily using only the mapper. Okay. You are not aggregating anything. You are not aggregating anything. You can do this job only using the map. So if you have only mapper side code where you are basically spitting out the records that are matching with this criteria, and you have turned off the reducer and you say that don't sort my data, then also this will work fine. Correct? There is no grouping happening, there is no reduction happening, meaning there is no aggregation happening. Correct? Had we said, yes. So yeah. So if you have, my question to you is, my question to you is, if you had to do this kind of a job, say, o- given a big file, give me only those lines that match with a specific criteria. Would you require reducer or will the mapper will be sufficient? Correct? In the same way, that's the same psychology pig also works upon. All right. Now, let me go back here. For this, For this, do you think internally pig is generating the reducer or not? If you have to do the same thing, will you have a reducer or not? The answer is yes, you will have to have the reducer. Okay? Because the grouping is happening, the sorting is happening, and you would require a reducer code to basically group these records together. All right? So grouping is nothing but under the hood you will be creating the key value pair such that key is the column on which you are grouping and the value is the full record. And as part of your reducer, what you will do is you will basically put brackets around the values and separate them by comma. All right. So reducer code will be there as part of the when you have group by. All right. So Tarak, you get your answer. So this is one example where there will be a reducer code generated, where there is a where there is a requirement of ordering or sorting, then the reducer code is generally generated. All right. Next is order by. When you want to order the records by certain criteria, you use order by. And by default, the ordering is ascending. You can say order by and then column name and followed by DESC so that you can force that order my data in descending order. All right. And you could also order by multiple columns like this. Okay. You can also order your data based on multiple columns. All right. Is that okay? Next is distinct. In case you want to um, basically find the distinct set of records, then you use distinct, okay, the unique set of records. So for each generate symbol, and we said distinct, meaning all those tuples which are duplicate will be removed, and only one of those tuples will be kept. So are you asking or are you telling? Okay. So order divs by symbol, we can say $1, comma $3, not 1, comma 3. All right. Is that what you're asking? Instead of saying name, you can refer them by column number starting with 0. All right. Good. Good. Let's go ahead and distinct is clear to everybody. So for only the distinct values will be left in the output. Now, anybody can answer this question? Unique symbols equals distinct symbols. Will it have any reducer side logic, or will there be any sorting and reducer? Correct. That's correct, Tarak. Yes. So because sorting is required to find distinct, okay, and therefore there will be the reducer side logic. Even if the logic says that whatever keys are coming, put it in the output, the logic will be there. The reducer phase will be there. All right? Abhishek, Huda, Malvika, Pop, Rania, Sanjay, and Sweta, are you with me? All right. So now next interesting part is join. So join is probably the most useful out of all because rest of the things did not was not very difficult using pure MapReduce. Okay, so you can join two tables using pig. So let's say that you have NYSE daily and NYSE dividends. Both are having symbol and exchange. You can join these two tables together, join daily by symbol and divs by symbol 1. This is the syntax. We are saying symbol of daily and symbol 1 of divs should be compared, and all those records where these two values are matching, those records should be brought together, which means the output will have total number of columns of this table plus this table, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the output will have 13 columns in total. Okay, so you can see this. So you can say dump J and D. So Tarak, just wait for a minute. All right, you'll get your answer. All right. So joining will result in bringing all these records together, and total number of columns will be added. Okay. All the columns of first record plus second record, that will be the output. Now you can see that. So NYSE daily as well as NYSE dividend, these are the total columns are merged together. Similarly, we can also join based on a composite key, meaning for those cases where exchange as well as symbol are matching, those records will be brought together. Join daily by these two columns and divs by these two columns. So where both of these things are matching with both of these, only in those cases the records will be brought together. And how will they be brought together? Like this: the columns of all the columns of the first data set, and the columns of second data set where our values are matching, CLNNY and CLNY. You can see that. All right. Now the question arises that what does it do we have self join or not? Okay. So the answer is no. For self-join, you will have to load the same file twice to create two different tables and then join those two tables. Okay, so you can see that NYSE dividends, we have loaded it twice and we are joining it based on certain criteria with itself. All right, everybody okay with single key join, composite key join, and self joins? Yeah. So what does it mean by self-join? In case of databases, what do we do in case of a self-join? So in case of a database, we can simply say select star from employee E1, comma, employee E2, where E1 dot manager equals E2 dot ID. Okay, so here we are joining employee table with itself, correct? There is something which is not possible. So if we had the similar idea that we have a data set called employee. So we cannot say output equals join employee on manager ID, comma, okay, comma, employee again on ID. So this is something which is not possible right away. Instead, you will have to load twice, one as employee and other as employee one. Then you can do things like this. Okay, good, good. Let's keep moving. Now, so the difference from RDBMS you will notice is join should always have at least one column. We cannot say we cannot say join employee join E1 comma E2. We cannot say like this. In databases, even if we had this kind of a syntax, it was absolutely okay. Okay, that would result in a cross join. Correct? Whenever we join it without a condition, it will basically do a cross multiplication. All the records of A will be combined with all the records of B, resulting in multiples of records. If A dataset has n number of record and B dataset has m number of records, total number of records that will result due to this would be n into m. Okay? But in case of our pig, we cannot do we cannot have a join without a condition. Okay? Second thing you would notice is join cannot have conditions. Join have to have column names. There can be multiple columns, but it can only be column names. We cannot have things like join a comma b on a dot value greater than b dot value. Okay. So when in case of so Tarak, whenever we are saying join select star from E1 comma E2, and E1 has n records and E2 has m records, the total number of records will be n into m, n multiplied with m, not n plus m. Okay, each record from E1 will be combined with each record from E2. Okay, that means n into m. Correct. So if you have one table called and adjectives are good and bad, and another table called nouns, okay, and we have city and person, okay, and you say select star from adjectives comma nouns, it will result in good city, bad city, good person, bad person. Now you get the idea. So that is cross multiplication. Yes. So that used to happen in SQL, but that is not something uh, that happens in Pig. Okay. Pig requires that you at least specify one column on the basis of which we will do the grouping of records. Okay. Also, also we cannot have things like this. A dot value greater than B dot value. Can somebody suggest why this is not possible? The second point. Can anybody answer this? Why this is something which is not supported in pig? Try to recollect how did we join the two tables in case of a democracy example. So here all I'm saying is in case of joins in pig, you can only join on column values. You cannot join on a condition. Anyone? Anyone? Why can't we join two tables in pig based on based on a condition such as a dot value greater than b dot value? You'll have to think in terms of map reduce again. So can we have conditions in case of map reduce? So the way the joining actually happens is, what does it mean by joining? Joining means key of one is brought together with the key of another table, and that is how the rows are brought together, correct? Based on a certain criteria. So that kind of thing is possible using MapReduce easily by making all the columns, okay, by bringing the, basically on the basis of whatever we are joining two tables, those basis becomes the key, and all the records are brought together based on that key. All right. Therefore, there has to be at least one key on the basis of which we will be combining the records. All right. If you think about how did we join the demo in the democracy example, then you will get the answer here. All right. Now, pig has multiple kind of joins. Pig has multiple kind of joins. One is a normal join, which we had been seeing. So here is a very simplistic example I have kept. So we have two data sets A and B. A has ID and name, B has ID and name. And when we join these two together, join A by ID and B by ID, we get the result. Okay, one Sandeep, one Giri, while two Ryan and three Saha are not printed in the output. All right. So this is how one Sandeep and one Giri is brought together because ID of these two rows are matching, while two Ryan has no corresponding ID on the right hand side. Similarly, three Saha does not have a corresponding ID on the left hand side, and we get this result. Okay. Now, there is something called a left join. Left or left outer join. We call them outer joins. And left join means even if even if there is no corresponding thing on the right hand side, the left hand side value has to come into the output. For example, id equals to 2 is there on the left hand side, but id equals to 2 is not there on the right hand side. Still, id equals to 2 goes into the output. Okay, one Sandeep comma one Giri, and then 2 comma Ryan goes into the output, while correspond since there is no corresponding value on the right hand side, we put it null. Correct. So also the way Tarak is saying, that's also a good way of explaining. All the left hand side values which has nothing there on the right hand side correspondingly go into the output plus something which is common between A and B. Alright? Is the left join clear to you? And the way to remember is the left keyword comes in the middle just before comma. Left outer or left both are the same thing. They come just before the comma in the middle. Okay. So when we say join A by ID left, meaning the left is prevailing here. Okay. The left hand side, which is A, is prevailing, and hence all the records from A has to go in the output, whether there is a value on the right hand side or whether there is no value on the right hand side. Is everybody okay with this? The left outer join? Now there is a right outer join. What does it mean by right outer join? Or we can simply say right join. Okay. So right outer join is similar to left outer join, just that this time the values from right hand side need to go in the output. Okay. Whether there is a corresponding ID, corresponding column available on left hand side or not. Although this can be simply emulated by saying join B by ID left comma A by ID, right? Just by switching the order, you can do that. Right? This is right outer join. Now there is something called full join. Full join means left plus right plus inner join, that is full join. Okay? So the values which are common, then values which are not common, all of all of those records are printed in the output. Okay. Now question to you is, join A by ID and B by ID gives us n1 records. The first one is an inner join where the result will come only if the value exists on the both sides, whether a particular ID exists on both the sides. Okay, so inner join gives us n1 records, left join gives us n2 records, right join gives us n3 records. How many records will full join give us? Anyone? No, how much will be n4 in terms of n1 and n2 and n3? N1 plus n2 plus n3. Mhm. N2 plus n3. Okay. So n2 plus n3, do you see this? This record is common in left and right. The first record. Okay. So here 2 plus 2 is total number of 4, Sweta, okay, while there are only 3 records in the output. You are saying left plus right, 2 plus 2, which is 4, but here there are only 3 records. So question again, if n1 records are in the result of inner join, n2 records are there in the left join, and n3 records are there in the right join, then how many records will be there in the full join? Brilliant, brilliant. Great. Thank you, Sweta. So n2 plus n3, not n4, n2 plus n3 minus n1. Uh, Probably that's what you wanted to write. Yeah, great. Yeah. So n2 plus n3 minus n1 records will be there in the full join. Is everybody okay with this? All right. Okay. Now here are a few more questions. Let's finish these questions if you have 5 more minutes. Okay. So what will be the output here? Anyone? We are joining A by ID and B by ID and saying left outer. What will be the output? These are teasers, okay? This is a disclaimer. These are teasers, not really problems, but these are more like teasers. You might get irritated by the result. Yeah. So A and B, okay? All right. So the answer is error because left and right have to be in the middle here, just before the comma. Here, yeah, okay, it'll give an error. Okay. Now, if I say join A by ID outer, comma B by ID, then what will be the output? Anybody? Correct. Yeah. So again, it'll be an error because you can say left, but you cannot say only outer because that is confusing. Are you trying to say left outer or right outer? All right. All right. So we will continue from here tomorrow. In the meantime, try to finish the quiz available for the course of today. Okay. So yeah. So here. So session number 5. Okay. Not this one. This is not yours. Session number 5. Okay. All right. So try to, because whatever we have learned today, you can actually do everything in this subjective quiz easily. Okay. Whatever we have already learned in pig and pig Latin, you can finish the subjective quiz, subjective questions easily, as well as the pig basic quiz you can finish quickly. All right. So try to finish both of these. Okay. The UDF one you can skip for now. Then when we discuss UDF in the next session, then we can go into the details. All right. See you on next Saturday. Have a great week ahead. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. This number is not really in, I'm having pretty difficult time. So half of the time this number would be unreachable. Just drop me an SMS if there is something urgent, or maybe if you're lucky you can get through. Okay, but I will prefer the email. All right, so see you next Saturday. So total number of actually we are here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So total number of 6 more classes are left. All right. Thank you all, and see you on Saturday. Feel free to get in touch if you have any questions, and keep on doing hands-on. Try whatever I have tried today. Okay. Step by step, pause the video, see whether the particular command is working or not, and make sure that you try each and everything. All right. That's the only way to learn. All right. See you on Saturday. Bye bye. Have a great day ahead.